to have the perfect formula for creating stories that touch the heart. When Nicholas Sparks writes a novel, it always ends up on the bestsellers list. And when those books become movies, they're always box office hits. The latest novel to hit the theaters is called The Choice, and we are delighted to have Nicholas Sparks here to tell us all about it. Welcome to Talk of the Town. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Thanks for having me.
It's always great to talk to you. So tell us about The Choice. For folks who may not have had a chance to read the book yet, what's the story about?
Oh, The Choice, well, it's a Nicholas Sparks film. I guess that's probably fairly descriptive from the beginning.
Right.
But it's a little bit different than anything I've done before in that it was the first one run through my production company, so it's a movie that has a lot of humor in it. I think there's a lot more elements that guys would enjoy. It's got more of an ensemble, almost independent feeling. And really what it does is it takes you through a journey about two people who begin to fall in love and takes you all the way through a period of years in which you discover and find yourself questioning, what choices are you willing to make when it comes to love? So it's kind of one of those movies that sucks you in, brings you along for the ride, and has you walking out of the theater wondering what you would do in that situation.
I've heard that this movie was inspired by your brother.
Yeah, inspiration can come from anywhere, but early on, when I was fresh out of college, I got married and I had a couple of kids right away, and so my weeks were spent, getting puked on and changing diapers and working and, being tired. And my brother, meanwhile, was a bachelor for a while. He spent first 10, 12 years out of college being a bachelor, so his weekends were spent with barbecues and dates and hanging out with friends and enjoying life. And I remember thinking throughout this period, I wonder what kind of woman it would take for him to finally settle down and get married, or just settle down and, let's say, have a life more in tune with the white picket fence idea. Sure enough, he did, and then a few years later, I went ahead and wrote The Choice.
Neat. Well, critics are calling this the best romance since The Notebook. How do you think The Choice compares to The Notebook, which of course is a classic?
Yeah, I think it compares very well. Like The Notebook, this is the only one of my films that really explores what happens after the honeymoon ends. Right? Some of my films, we always know that a couple is going to fall in love. Now, we don't always know what's going to happen to them. Some of my films, they've ended happily, some tragically, some with more of a bittersweet feel. Well, this one, we explore what happens after the honeymoon ends. And what we find is that love is it's a story that brings you in, and it brings out the best acting that I've seen since The Notebook, and Ben and Teresa just really express some amazing emotion. And I think it's a film that viewers are really going to enjoy on a dozen different levels.
So this is your first time as the full-fledged producer of a film. How was that for you, and do you want to do it again?
It was a lot more work, and yeah, despite the fact that it was a lot more work, it is something I would do again, because one of the challenges when you've had 10 or 11 or 12 movies come out, I'm on number 11 now, is how do you make them feel different enough that people don't feel like they're seeing the same movie a second time, while still retaining those elements that feel familiar to the viewers, so you don't, I guess, alienate your audience. And that's a very fine balance to try to strike, and by guiding the process from the beginning, I think we're able to do that and have a little bit more control to make sure that that's successful.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a great one. Thanks so much for visiting with us today. We appreciate it. Might be a good date night movie for Valentine's Day, don't you think?
Thank you. I think it's a great movie. I think it's the best date movie for Valentine's Day.
All right, we'll check it out. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
All right, look for The Choice. It's in theaters now.